Hi, this is Ron Darling with SNY TV. You know me from covering the Mets, and I hope you get a chance to listen to Mets Musings with Gary Mack. I had a great time. I hope you do too.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to Mets Musings with Gary Mack.
Mets Musings is an unofficial, independent podcast covering New York's National League Baseball team. It is not affiliated in any way with Major League Baseball or the New York Mets.
This is Len and Jeff from Baseball and Barbecue.
And the one place to go for New York Mets news,
Past week game reviews,
upcoming series previews,
interviews,
analysis,
opinion, and what's going down on the farm. It's Mets Musings with Gary Mack. So keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets.
Mets Musings with
Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
And hello and welcome to another edition of Mets Musings. I told you I'd be back after the winter meetings. Okay, I know it's been a few days since the winter meetings concluded, but we're back and have some thoughts on it. For the Mets, it was relatively quiet. They did end up signing Michael Wacha from the St. Louis Cardinals and Rick Porcello, two pitchers. I like the deals. Wacha is probably a shot in the dark, hoping that he can regain what he had a few years ago. And the same thing with Porcello, but Porcello really is an innings eater. So I think he's the main guy that's going to be the fifth starter. But Walker's going to get a shot at it as well. And I think Walker is going to be a project. But look, this guy was unbelievable a few years ago. And if he can get back to that, they may have struck something here. So not too unhappy about the deals. Yeah, I wish they would have done more. They need to do something for the bullpen. Of course, by signing Wacha and Porcello, they almost assure that Gesellman and Lugo go back to the bullpen and stay in the bullpen. So, in a way, they do strengthen the bullpen or keep it where it was last year and hope for a bounce-back year from those guys, Gesellman in particular, and from Edwin Diaz and Jeurys Familia. Is he going to be as bad as he was? Could be if he's shot. I mean, who knows? But we'll see what happens with that. And Edwin Diaz has got to be better. The guy still got 25 saves, even though it was still the worst trade in Mets history. He did get 25 saves, so if he can, do that and improve by cutting down on the blown saves, then they can have something decent right there. But we'll see. But I really believe that Porcello was signed as an innings eater. Wacha is a project, and if either one of these guys pan out, that means they could move something at the deadline or even sooner if it looks like they're going to be well for something a lot better, something that they really need at that particular point in time. So that's the player moves. The other big news that's come out after the winter meetings is that they reached a settlement to amend the contract of Yoenis Cespedes. Cespedes will take essentially, I think it's a $19.5 million cut. He's going to be paid $10 million a year this year. And, this whole situation with this injury to his foot, this ankle fracture, was very fishy, was very suspicious right from the beginning. And everybody said that. It just didn't seem right. The news that was coming out of Mets camp, something didn't seem right with the whole thing. couldn't figure out what it was, and then there was a rumor that they were going to try to void the contract. Well, now it's come out that they didn't pay him last year after that, and that they were seeking a grievance, that he filed a grievance, and my guess is that they were going to go to a hearing, and maybe Cespedes' agent said to him, look, you're not going to win this hearing. You're going to lose the hearing, and that's going to void the contract, and you're not going to have anything. And they settled on this. They settled on an amended contract for a lot less money. And he'll have a team at least going to a free agent year, and he'll get to play, hopefully, if he can play, and prove his worth to another team going into a free agent year. So that was a huge deal. And, of course, the other big news that came out of it all was the Steve Cohen purchasing the Mets, and a 5-year waiting period, if you will. I don't think we understand or know all the facts behind it. My guess is the 5 years is done for counting purposes, probably for Major League Baseball, probably for federal taxes or state tax. Who knows? My guess is that that's what this will break down to, really, in accounting. And there have been reports that some say he's not going to take control, and others say as soon as as soon as everything goes through, he will take immediate control. So there's nothing to fear there. And my attitude is, if I'm going to put in $1.8 billion into an organization, I want to have a say. I want to say, hey, I want that free agent guy, or I want to spend the money. I want to extend this guy, Michael Conforto, or Pete Alonso, or Noah Syndergaard. I want to do that. Here's the money. Here's the budget. You go do that, telling the GM that. Again, we don't know all the particulars about the deal and why it's a 5-year thing, but we will wait and see. But it's got to get better. It's got to get better before the 5 years. I mean, he's not going to put money into a franchise and purchase a franchise and allow them to run it down in 5 years. So it's got to be better, right? I mean, it just makes common sense that everything would go in the direction of the Mets and the new owner, because otherwise, why would you do it, really, without having complete say almost immediately? But that's one we're going to have to keep an eye on, because that's an interesting situation. Never heard of somebody buying a team, and it takes 5 years for them to take over. So, but again, I think it's for accounting purposes and that sort of thing. All right, let's take a break and come back right after this.
Looking for great Cardinals talk? Then check out Conversations with C70. My name's Daniel Shofdahl, and I talk with some of the great bloggers on the internet today about their teams. It always comes back to the Cardinals. Find the latest episode on my website, www.cardinal70.com, or at baseballpodcast.net.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com, along with Mets Musings and other great baseball podcasts.
With all the Mets news, it is the news from around the world and around the corner. Here's Gary Mack.
And we're back, and it seems that this amended contract with Cespedes has opened up a trade market. People are interested. They've inquired about him from the Mets, and it makes sense. It's a lot less money now. They'd have to pay him. He does have certain incentives he can match or reach for to make another $10 million back. But you know, let's see. The Rangers and the Athletics have mentioned as being teams that are interested, and the Mets have already talked to those teams about Jed Lowry, who's another guy they'd like to move. The Mets would, and Dominic Smith, and they've considered packaging somebody like Dominic Smith with a Jed Lowry, or maybe a Familia, someone with a bigger contract and a lower paid contract to free up some some money, payroll space. So now Cespedes is getting some look-sees because the contract is dropped significantly on him. So let's see where that all plays out. Seth Lugo was a little disappointed with the Mets pitching moves. You know, he wants to be a starter. He does not want to go back to the bullpen, but he's doing such a good job. You know what? If you're a good bullpen guy, you're going to get paid. You're going to get the money. You know, better to be a really good bullpen or a great bullpen guy than be a mediocre starting pitcher. And the money will come, you know, and your career may be longer. I don't know. But obviously, he's not happy with it. I understand. You want to be a starter. You were a starter most of your career. And then they moved to the bullpen. But how many guys have done that and have made terrific careers out of doing that? You know, look at John Smoltz. John Smoltz went from an all-star pitcher to a closer, and he's in the Hall of Fame. Didn't hurt him any. How many other guys? I can't think of the guy's name now, with Oakland and Boston, and went Eckersley. Wasn't Eckersley? He started as a terrific starting pitcher and then went to the bullpen and was a terrific closer. So, you know, you never know. And some guys should keep their mouth shut. Look at Ali Perez. Ali Perez didn't want to go to the bullpen with the Mets. And now he's become this lefty specialist, and he's been around for another 10 years because of it. He would have been out of baseball. So, I get it. The real big bucks is in starting, but you could be a mediocre starter, like I said, and be a great bullpen guy. And if you're a great bullpen guy, you're going to be paid where you're not going to be on the welfare line or the food line. You'll be getting a nice paycheck. So let's be serious about that. Let's not be crazy. And if that's your concern, then just do it. And it's it's a good living. So the other thing that the Mets are looking at is signing Dellin Betances. It's he wants a 1-year deal in the $10 million range. I don't know. He didn't play most of last year, so it's going back and forth. One day the Mets are in on him, the next day they're not. The next day they're out. They're in, they're out. I don't know. We'll see. $10 million a year for a relief pitcher, a 1-year deal. For a starter, I'm okay with that. A relief guy, I don't know. It seems like a lot of money to lay out for a relief pitcher, but who knows if that's the going rate now or what. But a guy coming off an injury-plagued season, I don't think I would put that kind of money out there for him. But you never know. Now that we got a new owner, almost. All right. Well, that's really going to wrap it up. I don't really, not too much else happening. That's probably going to wrap it up for 2019 as well. As unless there's a major trade or major signing that the Mets make, I will come back and give my thoughts on it. But look for us in January. We'll be back probably with another round table sometime in January, and hopefully lots of guests for you. But I'd like to wish you all at this point in time a very happy holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. If I missed anybody, just happy holidays to everyone, and be safe. And we'll see you again next year. And until then, remember to keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. Happy holidays, everybody. See you next year.